It's that time again. TMO off the grid.
Yeah, baby!
Okay, so on today's episode, we are going to talk about painting your cabinets. And yes, you can do it yourself, and it's not as difficult as you may think. So let's kick it off with Angie.
So with this, we've decided to go ahead and go with a white. We've chosen to go with Rust-oleum, and it comes in a kit, and you actually don't even need to pre-sand. But in this particular case, my better half is going to be sanding down these cabinet fronts for me, and I'll go ahead and paint those.
So this is what they call it, Rust-oleum cabinet transformations. You've got some deglosser, you even got a paintbrush in there, a couple of stir sticks, and then you've got the glazing and all the finish that goes in there. So everything comes in this kit if you want to refinish your cabinets using the transformations, which is a little bit similar to what we've done, but we've used parts of this kit because we've had it from leftover projects. It seems to work real good for us to use spray paint on the white in the flat and then use that finish on the top.
So I'll be having Todd here take these cabinet fronts down, remove the hardware, and he'll be out there with the hard part from my perspective, and that'll be sanding everything down.
And what are you going to do?
And I'll be painting.
That's good because I don't like to paint. Now we need to get after it by removing those doors from the frame with a few little screws inside there. Then carefully flip them over and let's remove those hinges. I like to use hand tools, not power tools, so I don't strip anything out. But you want to make sure you keep all those screws. So put a little plastic bag there and put all your hinges in there. Inspect those hinges. I found a couple of them that were broken, so it's off to the box store or online. I can buy some new parts. They're pretty readily available, but they're not cheap. Next off, we begin the sanding process. I like to use a triangle style hand sander or electric sander because I like that sharp little point, and I use brand new sandpaper all the way around the edges, and then I go to the inside edges or anywhere intricate that I can use that sander on before I use it on the main body. And then once that's complete, after quite a bit of work and sanding of the front and the back, now we're ready to take a little closer look at it, and we want to get those little details. So I like to use some of that leftover sandpaper that I tossed aside, and it's great for just rolling up and sanding in those tight little corners to make a little better finish. Once that's all done, I hand it over to Angie, and she starts the painting process. Now she's using a spray can of paint, and she likes to use flat spray paint, in this case flat white spray paint.
This is about 2 or 3 coats of a nice flat finish. What I'm looking for on the cabinet front is to have that really smooth velvety finish. And I've already achieved that now. There's a few areas that need a little bit of sanding and some perfection. And then I'll put it to bed in my yoga room and let that paint rest, and it'll be perfect. But before I start any project, a couple of things I do to get my mind straight. Number 1, put on a t-shirt with a good positive message. Nothing works better in your life than giving you a good positive outlet. The other thing is a nice stiff cup of green tea. It's got L-theanine to keep you calm. It's got caffeine to keep you going. So my tip to yours, get your mind straight, get ready for some good, strong work.
All right, here we are the next morning.
So one thing I really like to look at after having proper curing of the paint is you can actually put your hands right on your painted item and just run your hands down. What you're looking for is that beautiful, velvety, smooth finish, which means the paint has cured properly. And this just makes me want to keep rubbing this cabinet because it feels so amazing. A little bit more touch-up to do, but this is on the way to a beautiful finish.
Now the next step in the process will be painting the frames inside the house. And what we're going to use is a little bit of a deglosser that came in the transformation package, and that'll take the edge off of the glossiness and make it easier to paint. And then you'll just use your paint. We're going to use a paintbrush, not a spray paint, because we're inside the house and it makes too much of a mess. Light coats, that's the key. Multiple coats. Little bit of patience, a little bit of time, it'll turn out fantastic. One of the things we ran into is the edge of the cabinet had kind of a nice little shelf on it, and when we tore it down, it got a little bit destroyed. So we're rebuilding that in the shop, putting some paint on it, and we'll reinstall it for a 3-way shelf. After things have dried a bit, we've got a chance to take a look at how well it looks, and that paint just really covers nicely against all of the framing and such. And the next step is to go back to that transformation package and get the top coat, which is a glossy finish that makes it scratch resistant.
So I just got finished installing the last hinge on this. And as you can see, hardware is installed. We have probably about 3 to 4 coats of flat white finish on here. And then I've topped it with a clear coat that came with my kit. What we've chosen to do in our kitchen, just because it does create quite a bit of mess, and between our busy schedules, we don't have time to take everything apart. We've been doing it section by section. So this section here we've just finished, and then we'll be moving on to the next section.
Although it was a little more work, we decided to remove the rails and guides for the drawers before we painted and then reinstall them so they have a nice crisp edge and crisp finish. And then we decided to do some more detail work, like we added a little curly Q on the false drawer in front of the sink, and we decided to build some window boxes over the window for an added look. And we're just really pleased with how this whole project turned out. For more off-grid projects, home and auto do-it-yourself projects, and survival tips, please subscribe to our channel. T and Mo, Off the Grid.
Yeah, baby!